Khloe Kardashian and Scott Disick respond to speculations about her being pregnant with his child. Hi, before we continue, please subscribe to the channel for all Kardashians news and update. Khloe Kardashian and Scott Disick recently used their voices to clear up a long-standing rumor that has been floating around for years, one that has often made people laugh or shake their heads in disbelief. The rumor claimed that Scott once got Khloe pregnant. To set the record straight, the two of them talked about it openly on the very first episode of Khloe's new podcast called Khloe in Wonderland. This podcast episode ended up being funny, honest, and a little surprising for fans who have always been curious about the kind of relationship these two actually share. From the start of their conversation, it was clear that Scott and Khloe are more like siblings than anything else. Even though they've known each other for many years and shared so many family moments together, they've always had a playful and joking friendship, never a romantic one. During the podcast, Khloe brought up the wild rumor from the past and laughed about how people still bring it up today. It wasn't just strangers on the internet who were talking about it back then. Scott revealed that even his own parents used to call him about it, asking if the gossip they read in magazines or saw online was true. Scott recalled how his parents, Jeffrey and Bonnie Disick, would read these stories in the tabloids and worry that he might have gotten Khloe pregnant. Scott said he would often joke back to his dad by saying, "Yes, Dad, I got Khloe pregnant," just to make light of the absurdity of the rumor. His sarcastic tone was something his father recognized, and they both probably laughed about how ridiculous it all sounded. Khloe quickly jumped in at that moment during the podcast to make it very clear to everyone listening that Scott never got her pregnant. Scott, who was in a long relationship with Kourtney Kardashian and shares 3 kids with her, explained that during the late 2000s, gossip magazines loved creating shocking stories about him and the Kardashian sisters. He joked that every week, according to the tabloids, he had supposedly gotten a different sister pregnant. He laughed and asked where all these imaginary children were if that had really happened. The stories never made sense, but they kept coming anyway. Even though it's been many years since those rumors first came out, Khloe said people still seem curious about her relationship with Scott. She revealed that when she asked her fans who they wanted her to invite on her podcast, Scott was the #1 choice. But along with all the love and support from fans came a flood of questions, with one of the most popular being whether she and Scott had ever had any kind of romantic relationship. When she brought up the question on the podcast, Scott jokingly replied, "Yeah, but it was clear he was just playing around." Khloe, with a serious tone, responded that it never happened between them. Khloe also shared another question fans keep asking her, which is why she and Scott aren't married. That question really surprised Scott. He laughed and seemed a bit confused, because to him, there was never any romantic connection between the two. He also said that people on the internet often make up stories based on how close two people seem. If fans see two people getting along well or being affectionate in a friendly way, they automatically assume there's something deeper going on. Scott said these made-up stories aren't based on anything real, but people like to run with them anyway. He also mentioned that even though he and Khloe are very close, the idea that they're anything more than just close friends doesn't make any sense. He pointed out the fact that he has children with Khloe's sister, Kourtney, and that should be enough proof that there's nothing romantic happening between him and Khloe. He added that sometimes he might say things that sound shocking or inappropriate, but he never means them in a serious way. That's just how he jokes around, and people who know him understand that. For Scott, the fact that some people still believe there could be something romantic between him and Khloe is completely off base. He said those thoughts are just way off and even called them crazy. It seems that for years, people have been reading too much into the fun and comfortable friendship he shares with Khloe. But to both of them, it's clear that their bond is like that of a brother and sister. Even though Scott and Kourtney are no longer together as a couple, they've both done a great job at raising their 3 children together. They've built a healthy and strong co-parenting relationship that many people admire. Their ability to stay united for the sake of their kids, Mason, Penelope, and Reign, is something that has been praised by fans over the years. Despite all the ups and downs they went through as a couple, they've managed to put their differences aside and focus on being great parents. Looking back, it's easy to see why people outside their family might have gotten confused. Khloe and Scott have often appeared together in public, whether on their reality show or at family events. They have a funny and teasing dynamic, often poking fun at each other and making silly comments. But all of that is just part of their friendship. They've both been through a lot over the years, and they've always had each other's backs. Their connection is built on respect, shared experiences, and genuine care, not romance. Khloe has also been open about her desire to keep her life honest and transparent, especially as someone in the spotlight. She's aware that people are always watching her every move, and that can sometimes lead to misunderstandings. That's why she uses opportunities like her podcast to clear the air and answer questions in her own voice. She knows that if she doesn't address these rumors directly, they'll continue to grow and spread. So rather than letting people guess, she decided to sit down with Scott and have a real conversation where they could both speak openly. This first episode of her podcast turned out to be the perfect way to show people what kind of relationship she has with Scott. They laughed, joked, and got serious at the same time, showing a balance that only close friends who've known each other for a long time can have. It also reminded fans that not everything they read or hear is true. Sometimes, people's imaginations get the best of them, and they create stories that don't match reality. Scott, for his part, has always been the type of person who enjoys making people laugh. His sense of humor has often gotten him into trouble, especially when people take his jokes too seriously. But those who know him understand that he's just being himself. That's also what makes his friendship with Khloe so strong. They both know how to laugh at the nonsense and focus on what really matters. The rumor about Scott getting Khloe pregnant was never true, and both of them made that crystal clear. They're not in love, they're not soulmates, and they're not secretly dating. What they are is loyal friends who've been through a lot together and continue to support each other in every season of life. Their story is not one of romance, but of deep friendship, which can be just as meaningful. Fans who listened to the episode got to hear a side of Khloe and Scott that felt real and unfiltered. They were able to joke about old rumors, share memories, and laugh at how far they've come since the early days of reality TV fame. And for anyone still holding on to those old tabloid stories, this episode served as the final word. While Scott no longer has a romantic relationship with any of the Kardashian sisters, his connection to the family remains strong, especially through the children he shares with Kourtney. He continues to be part of their lives, showing up for important moments and being a dependable father. Thanks for watching. Please do well to share your thoughts in the comments, and don't forget to subscribe for more Kardashian updates.